I'm going to tell you straight off that this episode is uncomfortable for me. We'll just start out with that. To discover why, let's do the recap here. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no editing, none of that fancy stuff here. And I'm a series person. I like series. We're binging our Star Trek Next Generation series. We're almost to the end. It's getting a little on the sad situation here. I don't like that it came to an end so quickly. They were still really quite popular. I'm also sad that Voyager ended the way it did, but we will get to that, as we'll be doing Voyager after this. We are on Season 7, Disc 2, Episode 260. Almost to the end. Life without Star Trek. Boo-hoo. We have to do something about that. We need more Star Trek. We need more Stargate. That's what we need to get going on. We need to start going on Stargate. We need some more SG-1. We need some more Stargate Atlantis. We need more Stargate. We need more SG-1. Daniel Jackson, Samantha Carter, Teal'c, O'Neill. We need Shepard. We need the gang. We need McKinney. Whatever. McKay. That's it. McKay. We need those guys back. We need those guys back bad. So anyway, we've done the Gambit. We've done Phantasms. We've done Dark Page. And today we're doing Attached. And like I said, I'm not too comfortable about the whole situation. I wish we could play it and talk about it as it runs, but there's legal stuff going on there. So we're just gonna have to do it this way. We have a small voiceover. Captain's log, Stardate 47304.2. The Enterprises arrive at Crespit 3 in order to evaluate an unusual request on the part of Kes for an associate membership in the Federation. And please excuse all my mispronunciations in this particular video. Or all my videos. And if you could please hit the like and subscribe, that'd be most appreciative. So we start the episode off with Dr. Crusher and Picard having breakfast, and her talking to him about her staff, and him deep in thought on something else and not hearing anything she's saying. I've been telling you about Nurse Aguaga and Ensign Markson for the last 15 minutes. You have? I'm sorry. Are you worried about this mission with Kes? No, not exactly worried. The notion of admitting half of their planet to the Federation while leaving the other half out. First of all, Kes are not half the planet. They're nearly 3/4 to it. But the Pit are not being left out. They themselves simply don't want to have to contact with anyone from the outside, not the Federation or anyone else. Every member of the Federation entered as a unified world, and that unity says something about them. That they resolve certain social and political differences, and they are now ready to become part of a larger community. By all indications, the Kes are very unified, very progressive people, but the Pit are not. They are reclusive to the point of exemophobia. Well, think about Earth. What if one of the old nation states, say Australia, had decided not to join the world government in 2150? What would that have disqualified us as a Federation member? That analogy is not exact. Right, good Captain Card. We have received word from Ambassador Mork. He's waiting to see you and Dr. Crusher. And then they're on their way. So then they go to beam out. Worf is at the controls and not Chief O'Brien, so wondering where Chief O'Brien is. But Worf is at the controls and they beam down, but they never arrive. What's up with that? They say, hey, Worf, we're still waiting. And Worf's like, we already sent them down. So he wakes up in a prison cell and he wakes her up. Don't you hate it when they're so I know they're in a prison cell and yeah, I know the situation. But they could lighten it up so we could actually see the actors. There was this TV show 10 years plus ago, and it was a vampire thing, and I couldn't see anybody. My screen was black. They were doing it for dramatic effects. They were showing it was nighttime, but I couldn't see anybody. I think it lasted 2 seasons and it was canceled because you couldn't see anybody. What was the point? The last thing I remember, we were beginning to transport. I would assume we must be in Kesper. We're in some kind of prison cell. The question is why. I can't imagine that Ambassador Murick would have any reason to detain us. John Luke, what is it? Let me see. They've got a device on their neck. It looks like an implant. It seems to be connected directly to the brainstem. And then she's got one too. Whatever it is, I doubt it's designed for our health. What is going on here? If you tell us why you've taken us hostage, we might be able to. You are not hostages, you are prisoners. So these people come in a dark room wearing all black, and you can't see them. What's the point? So she comes in and she says, you are not hostages, you are prisoners. Prisoners on whose authority? You are being held under the authority of Prit Security Ministry. The charges are conspiring with the enemy. Enemy, you mean the Cass? We are not fools. We are aware of the Federation attempt to establish a military alliance with the Cass. It will not be tolerated. Your information is incorrect. We have no plans to enter into any. There is no point in trying to mislead us, Captain. The devices which have been implanted into cerebral cortex will be calibrated to your PSI waves pattern. At that time, we'll be able to get all the information we need. Then you discover we're telling the truth. We'll see, she says, and walks out. So then Data, Riker, and Worf are in the transporter room. Data is reporting there is nothing wrong with their transporter. I have run a complete diagnostic of all the targeting components. Then what happened to Captain and Dr. Crusher? Commander, the transporter log shows an unusual concentration of anti-gravation particles in the emitter coil. A concentration of anti-graviton particles suggests a tractor beam. It might have deflected the transporter beam to a different set of coordinates. Is there a way to locate the coordinates, Riker asked. The tractor beam originated somewhere in the Prit Alliance. Why does the Prit Alliance want Captain Picard and Dr. Crusher? I don't know. It's not going to be easy to find out. The Prit have consistently refused all outside contact. We're going to have to work through the cast. Contact Ambassador Marek. So then we're back in the prison cell and he's trying to test the bars. What? You're staring at me. I was just thinking about how to get out of here. There must be a structural flaw that would allow us to escape. Right. The important thing during any confinement is to think positively and not give up hope. There's a way out of every box. There's a solution to every puzzle. It's just a matter of finding it. Well, at least this means we won't starve. They're given a plate of food. It means they plan on keeping us for a while. I'm beginning to think negatively, John Luke. My tricorner, does it work? Yes, it's been added to the main inventory. It's a map, an escape route. The guard must be working for Cass, or possibly it could be a carefully laid trap. If you ask me, what it will take my chances. So someone slipped them a way out. Shall we see what happens? Oh, look! Once they leave the room, there's light. So then they're meeting with Ambassador Warwick. Commander, on behalf of my government, I'd like to take this opportunity to present my profound apologies regarding this unfortunate incident. That's very kind, Ambassador, but I don't think anyone here holds you or the Kess responsible. Our primary concern is not to blame, but to recover our officers, Troy says. I agree. We are prepared to insert a hostage rescue team in the Prit City in 3 hours. Riker, Ambassador, we don't even attempt a diplomatic effort yet. I would rather not use force until we've exhausted all other options. I don't believe there is any diplomatic option, Commander. We have no formal relations with the Brit ambassadors. There's simply no way to contact them. Surely you must have a means of communication in case of emergency, Troy says. We have never had need of such a system. We determine their communication frequencies and establish a link. Allow me to be blunt. The Prit are fanatical and exorbitant people with a little regard for civilized discourse. Even if you do establish communication links with them, it will be a complete waste of time. How long has it been since you had last diplomatic contact? A century. Then it's possible things may have changed over the years. We've had other less formal contacts with Prit. Our contacts cannot discuss, but I assure you they have changed little. So we've got a little racism or biasm or bigotry going towards the other race. It's just like, remember on the original Star Trek with the half white and the half black guys? And just because they were white on one side or black on the it was, what was the point? You were both black and white. Just because one was white on one side and one was black on the other. It didn't make a hill of beans of sense, but that's how their racism was biased. And I guess that was the point. Trying to point out how, you shouldn't be racist. Everybody should get along. And you shouldn't judge somebody just by the color of their skin or their nationality or their religion. As long as they're nice to you, you should be nice to them. You're just a person. Everybody's just a person. All persons are equal, at least in some countries. But they should be equal everywhere. And whatever God you worship or don't worship, you're all equal in their eyes. But anyways, they make Worf go in the room first, and they're scanning the room. I don't know, bombs, listening devices. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so then these two are in a cave. And they're near a lava flow, and there's fumes in the cave. So then Data is doing investigation. I have scanned the entire PRIT communication system. This appears to be the primary access module for the central government. Can you determine which of the comm links is connected to the Prime Minister's office? I believe so. However, the PRIT have no link designated for extraterrestrial communication. Our hail may come as quite a surprise to them. Well, they're going to have to adjust. Open a channel. This is Prime Minister Horst's office. Can I be of service? This is Commander William T. Riker, Federation Starship Enterprise. I know this may seem unusual way. The Enterprise, you mean the ship in orbit, that's right. Why are you on this comlink? We were having trouble contacting your government directly. We had to start somewhere. If we could talk to your... Did you get authorization for communication? As I said, we're having trouble contacting you. I cannot participate in unauthorized communication. And he disconnects. Not very friendly, are they? No, sir. We are being held. Prit Security Council. Well, it looks like we got someone's attention. How do they have this on-screen technology if they've never done... all right, I'm going to stop with the questions. Because none of it's feasible. So then they finally get to talk to somebody. There is nothing to discuss. If you do not terminate these transmissions, we will be forced to take aggressive action against your ship. And she turns off the thing. Their weapons pose no threat to the Enterprise, Worf says. Just the same, keep the shields up for the time being. Aye, sir. And then they go talk to the other guy. He says, our efforts to contact the Pritt ran into a wall. I'm sorry, perhaps this will lighten your spirits. We have freed your captain and the doctor. What? They were being held in a prison just outside the Pritt capital. One of our operatives was able to arrange their escape. Where are they now? Well, they should be en route to Kess border. Our operative provided them with a detailed map and instructions on where to go. How will you get them across the border? At the moment, that information is confidential, but plus this, we do have a plan. Mm-hmm. So they're following the map and they end up in a dead end. So then they realize it's not exactly a dead end. They got to climb up to that itty bitty hole up there. Apparently, those devices are affecting them mentally, and it is allowing them to feel each other's feelings. And Beverly has a slight fear of heights, and he's going up the rock wall, and he suddenly feels her fear, and he's got to talk her out of it. This is one of the biggest reasons why this episode makes me uncomfortable. So then we're back on the Enterprise, and Riker comes in to see them. Maybe I'm wrong. They've added a few toys to their room. So then he tells Riker that Dr. Picard and Dr. Crusher have not made it to the rendezvous time. They've not shown up. So they're a little worried. Well, they got out of the caves and they start talking about food and breakfast and meals. And they start sensing each other's thoughts and they start having conversations about um, what I've been choosing breakfast recently. You see, I think that breakfast should be a simple meal, and recently you've been ordering these elaborate things. Coffee and croissants. That's all you really want, isn't it? Coffee and croissants. Why didn't you just say so? I didn't think it was important. You don't like those elaborate meals either. No, I usually prefer something simple myself, but I thought you might enjoy more variety. Well, from now on, it's just coffee and croissants. They're starting to act like a married couple. So, is this a prelude to Picard season 3? Then they start talking about their feelings for each other and how they have felt each other over all these years. Again, a prelude to season 3 of Picard. Why did it take X number of years? So, question for you. Why can't they use the tricorder to try and contact the Enterprise in some fashion? That's my question to all you Star Trekkies out there. I'll have to make it my question and see if I get any responses. See if anybody watches this video this far in. But that's my question. Why can't they use the tricorder in some way to contact the Enterprise? Oops. They're like, we lost your people. So Riker says, it's time to put an end to this. You need to contact those Pritt, and we need to set up a face-to-face meeting. They have a romantic evening by a campfire. Hungry, but they have a romantic, you know, discussing all their feelings and all that kind of stuff that makes me uncomfortable. They talk about their feelings. He talks about the fact that he felt guilty when Jack had his accident, and talks about Wesley, and talks about his feelings for her. You were married to my best friend. At first I thought it was harmless infatuation, something hormonal rather than emotional. Then when the months went by and three of us began spending more and more time together, I realized that it wasn't something else and it wasn't right. But although I could never act on it, I couldn't help the way I feel. And then when Jack died, you felt guilty. I felt guilty before he died, having feelings like that for my best friend's wife. And then later, after the accident, I promised myself that I would never tell you how I felt. All mushy feelings. Does this set it up for their future relationship that we don't see until Picard 3? So then Riker's like, we need to talk. So they're all in the observation lounge together, and she's accusing them of being in a military alliance. And that she knows so much more than they think she knows. I will not sit down with him. He's the enemy. He doesn't know us. He doesn't try to communicate with us. You know, we are aware of your plan to use Federation technology to build new attack satellites. You will find that we are prepared for them. This is an interesting but pointless lie. I'd rather discuss your own plans to use Federation aid to take over Colorado Island. We have been over this before. Colorado Island belongs to Prit. That's it. I can see the diplomacy is not going to get us anywhere today, and we do not have time to negotiate. So let's put all on the cards the table. You are concerned that Cass is going to be admitted to the Federation. As first officer of the Enterprise, I can promise you that's not going to happen. Cass will be denied membership. You have no authority to make the decision, despite whatever games you played with Prit when you arrived. You still plan to take our petition directly to Federation. They'll listen. They'll also listen to the reports of the captain of the Enterprise and his first officer. I can tell you right now, the first officer report will go something like this. Crespit, a deeply troubled world with social, political, and military problems they have yet to resolve. The Kess, while friendly and democratic, are driven by suspicion, devious, and paranoia. It is the opinion of this officer that they are not ready for membership now that the matter of our missing officer. They are still charged with spying, Commander. I have nothing here that would change that. Then perhaps you should consider this. If anything happens to them, Starfleet will want a full investigation, which means more starships will be coming to Crypt, and those ships are going to want answers, which puts your country under a very large and uncomfortable microscope. Remember how unhappy you were when we just contacted one of your people without authorization? Well, just think what it would be like when 10 starships arrive. So there. So then Dr. Crusher and Picard are running into a little bit of trouble, and these two are still bickering up on the planet. Up on the Enterprise, excuse the faux pas, and they decide to cough up the coordinates of Picard and Dr. Crusher. So I wonder if the devices have been removed yet, or if they have to go to sick bay to get the devices removed. Um, Morik is determined to take his protest to the Federation Council, but I don't think he'll get very far. I tend to agree, number one. And those two are still, I guess they're still feeling each other's feelings. Okay, so we end the episode with a romantic dinner. I was just thinking that, as distracting as it was, I was beginning to get used to hearing your thoughts, and I find that I miss it. So do I. It was very intimate. You know, last night I couldn't sleep. Oh, I was awake for several hours, and thanks to the implants, I got to hear some very interesting dreams of yours. A man can't be responsible for what his mind does when he's asleep. What about when he's awake? She gives him a kiss on the cheek and leaves. So that is That is the end of Attached. And that is the end of this disc. If you haven't watched the other recaps, please go check those out. Please go check out Flashback Monday. Also, please hit the like and subscribe, and please check out my daily book reviews, and have a good day.